We get this one life, and the human experience is quite exciting and can be extraordinary, but it could also be wasted if not lived intentionally.
Listen up, people. That's right. It's time to listen to the sparks of bliss in your life. I'm your host and life coach, Caroline de Posada from Miami, Florida. And this podcast is an invitation to join me in upgrading our mindset, wellness, and relationships so that together we create a life that unlocks our bliss. Join me each week as we explore practical strategies, inspiring stories, and the moments of clarity, or as we like to call them, los momenticos, that make the world a little more magical. Consider this your weekly dose of wisdom in your pocket. Are you ready? Let's do this.
Hey, Blistener, welcome to episode number 87 of Blissin' Up. So that's it, my friend. Today is the last Sacred Sunday of 2025 and also the last podcast episode of 2025, which for me this year is very meaningful because this is the first full calendar year that I started and ended with you on this podcast. We launched Blissin' Up in May of 2024. So we did welcome 2025 together, but it's really cool that we've spent an entire year together. I actually took a look back and noticed that there were 51 episodes in 2025. And I thought, wow, what a privilege to have spent all year and recorded 51 episodes in which I have been thinking about you, thinking about helping you create a life that sparks bliss, inviting you to work on your mindset, on your wellness, on your relationships, and more importantly than anything, live with intention. That for me is just the most important thing that we can do in our lives is live an intentional, meaningful life, one where we can go back and always connect the dots and look at the narrative and romanticize the experiences that we've had, and really create a life story that is meaningful and purposeful, and that we, at the end of our life, are so proud of. That is all we can ask for, right? We get this one life, and the human experience is quite exciting and can be extraordinary. So I want to take today's episode to invite you to spend the last few days of 2025 doing some reflecting. Now, you may be on vacation, you may be on holiday, and maybe right now you feel like you don't have the bandwidth or the time to do some reflection because you're busy. If that is the case and you are just out and about and you don't have time to do this, or you don't want to make time to do this, I get it. That's totally cool. But I invite you to do it when you get back from your vacation. Now, I'm going to be on vacation also, and I have to confess that vacation for me is the best time to do this kind of reflection. Why? Because I love to wake up early in the morning when I'm on a vacation and grab my journal, grab my cup of coffee, and just spend time freely thinking, writing, connecting the dots, noticing, naming, setting intentions. For me, it's just like one of the things that I love to do the most. So if you have 15 minutes or 20 minutes or even an hour in the mornings before everybody wakes up, or in the evenings, or if you are feeling a little bit more relaxed during your vacation and you can do this, I hope you don't bypass it because it is such a meaningful thing to do at the end of the year. So I want to break this down for you because I think this is important. So in December, because we are welcoming a new year, something that we do often is like we want to look at the last 12 months. We want to look at the bigger picture, which is absolutely a beautiful practice. And I encourage you to do that. Like look back and see, what did you do this year? Look through your camera roll, look through your calendar, take a bird's eye view of what 2025 represented for you. You probably forgot a bunch of things that you did already. You'll probably love taking that trip down memory lane to see what 2025 meant for you. And this is also the time when you've already done this for 2025, or maybe you're still working on it, but this is also a good time to start thinking about what will your word be for 2025, like your one word for the year. If you want support in that, I actually have in the show notes a word of the year guide that you could sign up for free. And I give you a little video on how to choose your word and 30 prompts that you can use to help you choose your word. And on January 7th, I'm actually doing a workshop, like a masterclass called Year End Review / Winter Planning Workshop. And that's going to be a beautiful way for you to go through your year with me. So if you're interested in doing that, I encourage you to go to the show notes and get on the waiting list for our group program, because we're going to be talking about that as well. Okay, so that's the bigger picture, your word of the year, and looking at the last 12 months. That's the macro approach to your year, which is great. However, intention is created on the daily. Goals are achieved on the daily. Life is lived on the daily. And the danger with just looking at the year is that it's easy to get derailed during the year, in the nitty gritty, when you're on the ground floor living day to day. It's easy to get out of alignment. It's easy to get thrown off path. It's easy to forget what your goals were at the very beginning. It requires monthly, weekly, and daily revisiting of these intentions to really create an intentional life. So that's why I don't just do yearly planning. I do life planning. Like Emily P. Freeman said it best. She said, reflection is a lifestyle, not a one-time event. And I have taken that seriously. So I reflect daily, weekly, monthly, yearly. Like it's a rhythm. It's a part of my life that I do continuously. I was talking to one of my clients the other day, and she was like, "Oh, it's sometimes it's overwhelming because you have your word of the year, and then you have your word of the month, and then there's every month you're doing a new word, and there could be a lot going on." And I chuckled because I get it. It does, when you're looking at it as a big picture kind of thing, it could feel a little bit overwhelming. But here's the thing. There's no rules. You don't have to change your word every month. You don't have to pick a new word every month. You can do as much or as little of this reflection as serves you best. So let's say, for example, that you choose a word of the year, and that word is like, it's the word, and it's the only thing you want to focus on all year. Then don't choose any other words for the other months. However, you still want to each month revisit, what are your intentions for that word of the year? What are you naming this month that's going to support you in that bigger picture? How are you nurturing that word of the year? So my word for 2025 was queen. And believe me, I would not have been able to say that with so much confidence in January of 2025, because when I first chose the word, I was mortified by the word, totally embarrassed. I was like, I cannot tell people that my word of the year is queen. It just sounded, I don't know, super cheesy. My girlfriend Frances was like, God, you know that every 16-year-old calls each other queens. It's like a trending word. And I wasn't trying to be like a 16-year-old, but she wasn't wrong. So I was like embarrassed by the word. But the word came to me at a time where it had a really significant meaning for me. It wasn't like a trendy queen situation. It was about stepping into the queen role in my life. And that was actually a very serious intention. It was something that I worked on the entire year. Now, every month I had a theme. I I can share with you all of my themes for 2025 because I keep them all together. January was shift, February was foundation, March was magnetize, uh, April was aligned action, May was mindful, June was energize, July was enjoy, August was anchor, September was strengthen, October was orderly, November was N squared, representing savoring what is now while preparing for what's coming next. And December was in spirit. So that was my 2025 year. Every month had a theme of what I wanted to focus on in that month, how I wanted to approach the month, what season I was in, what I was feeling, what was relevant in that moment, in that time, but always under the umbrella of I'm stepping into my queen. I am stepping into the queen version of myself. And what is that going to look like this month? So my word of the year was the big one. And every month of the year was getting me closer and closer and closer into that intention, while also not ignoring what was relevant and true for me at that time. Right. So that's how I approach the Live with Intention framework. And I use names and themes, but it could also be mantras. It could also be affirmations. My invitation to you is to create a rhythm that supports your life, but that continues to be a rhythm. This is not, it's kind of like eating healthy and losing weight. And oftentimes, the people who have the most trouble with losing weight is that they keep wanting to start a diet to get to a certain weight and then they can go back to their regular lives. And that's where we go wrong, right? So, people that are committed, like really committed to being healthy, recognize that it is a lifelong journey. It is constantly evolving. It is constantly requires your intention, your mindfulness, your care. You can't, it's not a set it and forget it. Well, living with intention is not a set it and forget it also. So choosing your word of the year and then forgetting about it is not going to support you. It's really about doing this consistently. So this month, I will do two types of reflections. I will look at the last 12 months and all of those themes, which is immediately sparks what happened in the year. But I'll go in a little deeper and I'll look through my calendar. I'll look through my camera roll. I will look through my journal, what I wrote, what was important, what mattered to me throughout the year. But I'll also do the same exercise for just December, because December was really meaningful and important also. And because even though I'm going to choose my word of the year, which I haven't chosen my word of 2026 yet, it hasn't come yet, maybe because I need a little time to sit in reflection. I've been working too much. But I'm also going to look at what is relevant for January, independent of my word of the year, but also like just what January is going to mean. And I actually think I got my word for January this morning as I was preparing for this podcast, and I'm going to tell you why. So my theme for December was in spirit. So this month was an interesting month for in spirit December because I've really thought about what it means to live in spirit of connection, in spirit of gratitude, in spirit of forgiveness, in spirit of the holiday season. I've been exploring and visiting all of the different ways that being in spirit could mean to me personally. So this year we had, it was the first time that we really enjoyed a Christmas with 3 grown kids, which is a totally different experience than celebrating Christmas with little kids. And you know what I'm talking about. Last year, we had 3 grown kids, but we celebrated a white Christmas. We traveled for the Christmas holiday, and it was the first time we had ever done that. So it felt very magical because we were traveling to the snow. We had a white Christmas. Um, there was a lot of novelty last year. The presents were shipped over to where, to the cabin that we were staying at. It was so magical and so cool. But this year we stayed home to have our traditional annual Christmas with the family, as we always do. And it's Miami, so it's hot. And everybody knows that Christmas just hits different when it's hot. It's not the same as a snowy Christmas. It just isn't. Um, but also we had these adult, for lack of a better word, adult children in our house. So everybody was feeling a little bit of less magic, less spirit for the Christmas holiday. It just wasn't the same. And we had multiple conversations as a family about it. It just wasn't the same. What can I tell you? And I tried. I made sure to decorate the house. I would put Christmas music on the TV. I bought an unnecessary amount of hot chocolate for my kids. I did a bunch of things like to try to have the spirit of Christmas, but it was changing and there was discomfort in that. And I think it was an interesting thing to experience because this happens like when we are in transition from one identity or one a life as we know it, and we are transitioning into a new normal, like a new life. There is a period where it just doesn't feel like it's working. It's there's a discomfort to that transition, and you're trying to figure it out because a part of you wants to hang on to what was, and yet you have to transition into the new thing. So I was in that experience because a part of me wants to hold on to my little boys having the magic of Christmas. And yet I know that they're different, and that's going to mean it's going to be a different experience, and we're going to have to find new ways to enjoy the magic of Christmas. The thing about the in spirit theme was that it invited me to go a little bit deeper. It kept me in reflection, looking at what it is that I was trying to hold on to, what is right now, and where are we going? And asking the question, how do we do this in spirit? How do we stay inspired in the spirit of what matters most to us during this time? And on the 24th, Nochebuena, here in Miami, I got an idea and I tried it on for size and it worked. My kids were sitting around in the house and I came up to them and I said, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to write all of our 5 names on a piece of paper. We're going to cut them out and we're going to put them in a cup. And everybody is going to pick a name out of the cup. And then that's going to be your Secret Santa person that you got. And then you are going to write that person a letter, like a love letter, a letter of kindness for the Christmas season. Okay. So my kids were like, okay. They didn't love the whole letter idea, but they were game. They were like, okay, we'll do it. And then somebody else said, but what if we could also buy each other, like our Secret Santa, a gift? Could we buy our gift? And then I think it was my husband that was like, well, we could go to Target and everybody just buys a gift for their Secret Santa. And then I thought, this is a way to get them to write the letter. I said, okay, I have an idea. What if the requirement to go to Target is write your letter? So everybody has to write their letter and then we will go to Target together and we'll get gifts for each other. That'll be like the incentive, but you don't get the gift without the letter. It ended up that they didn't write the letter before we went to Target. It didn't work out that way, but they did write their letters. Every single one of them wrote their letters. So then we went to Target and I put $30 in the accounts of each one of my kids. And then my husband and I had our $30. So we gave all of ourselves a $30 limit. We walked in as a team to Target. We met outside and we're like, okay, everybody's going to disperse. Every man for himself. Everyone is going to go find their special gift for their Secret Santa. You're going to go through the checkout line by yourself. You're going to pay for your own gift. And then we will reconvene at the front of Target in 20 minutes. Everybody's going to have their gifts inside their bags, hidden. And then when we get home, we will wrap our individual gifts. We'll attach the letter to the gift. We're going to go and enjoy our Nochebuena at our family's house as we were supposed to do. And when we get home after the night is over, we are going to sit and we are going to exchange gifts and letters. And everybody said, okay. So we did that. And we just had a blast doing it. And then we came home and we went out to our Nochebuena party. And when we got back, we all sat down in a circle. And one of my sons was like, I cannot wait. I have to be the first one to give the gift. And he said, I'm going to read the letter. And the gift was to me. And he read me the most beautiful, heartfelt letter I've ever seen in my life. And then the next person got up, and the next person got up, and the next person got up. And every single letter was, tearjerker, meaningful, absolutely beautiful and heartfelt. The gifts were thoughtful and creative and fun. We had a blast doing that. And at the end, when it was all over, what I realized was that my kids were the most excited about giving to one of us as opposed to receiving the gifts. And right there, in that Nochebuena, we found our spirit. It was beautiful. It was so meaningful that my husband said, this is it. This is a 5-finger tradition forever. Maybe it'll work out forever. Maybe it won't. But for this month, it brought us back to our spirit. For this moment in time, it reminded us what mattered most. At a few minutes after we finished our exercise, everybody started getting ready for bed. Oh, and the other thing was we all got into Christmas pajamas, which was really cute. So everybody got ready for bed. And Ryan, my son, came up to me and said, Mom, I'd do anything to go back for just 5 more minutes to watch you all get your gifts again. That was so beautiful. I was like, me too. It was wonderful. It was wonderful. And again, I really believe from the bottom of my heart that one of the motivations behind finding that new tradition, something that got me in that energy, was asking the question, how do we get into spirit? How do we go back to our spirit? How do we find what's meaningful in this moment now that there has been a shift, that there has been a transition? So that's very, very important to me. So this morning, as I was thinking about this, it also occurred to me that the message that I'm getting going into January and the theme that I'm getting for going into January is adjust. This is a time of adjusting to, the thing that keeps going on in my head is what has gotten you here is not necessarily going to get you there. What has worked up until now isn't necessarily going to work going forward. I also experienced that with my health. This year has been a year of discomfort and adjustment for me with my health. I've gained a little bit of weight. I've struggled with willpower and cravings and food. I've struggled with exercise because my sleep has changed. It's been a year of struggling. And I did a few things. I went to the doctor. I got my labs done. I realized I am in the menopause years. And my body is changing, but so is just the way that I work. Like my hormones are changing. My body is changing. I'm aging. Like there's change. And on my 46th birthday, I was like, no, that's it. Like I'm starting a new year of intention when it comes to health and eating and all that kind of stuff. So I wanted to clean things up. And what I did was that I grabbed all of my labs. I gathered everything that I was experiencing, my diet, my food, my my routines, my structure, all my circumstances, and I inputted all that into AI. And then I asked AI to help me create a plan for what's going to serve me now. And I have spent the last 3 weeks or so really cleaning things up. I wasn't going to wait till the new year. This isn't a New Year's resolution. I wanted to start immediately cleaning things up. And I noticed that I have been eating healthy for a long time, but the things that used to work for me before when I ate healthy, the patterns and the rhythms that I had before will not work for me going forward because of this new hormonal shift that I have had. So I've had to be really intentional about doing things like eating certain ways to avoid cravings, to avoid spikes in cortisol or insulin, things that I didn't necessarily have to think about before because it wasn't as important. So again, I had to adjust. So this month, in the spirit of my health and my wellness, I realized this is about adjusting. And I want to take that theme into January. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to declare it as January's 2026 Listen Up Collective theme. Adjust January. This is the month to adjust. Adjust to a new year, adjust to a new season, adjust to a new way of doing things. This is the time. What has gotten you here may not necessarily get you there. And all adjusting means is paying attention. Just because something has always worked doesn't mean it's going to continue to work. Just because this is how things have always been done doesn't mean that this is the way things have to continue to be done. Oftentimes we need the space and the openness and the curiosity to adjust to what is, to find a new way to do things. And I know we want to hang on to the old way. I wanted to hang on to my child's little Christmas on Noche Buena. After we did the whole thing, I even caught myself being like, should we make cookies for Santa and put milk out? And it was just funny because my son looked at me, my oldest son looked at me and said, Mom, there's some traditions worth holding on to, and there's some that we just have to let go. And I said, okay, some we'll let go. And it's okay because it served me while it was there. It was beautiful while I had it. And now it's time to adjust and find beauty in what is today. And I know that it is going to be magical and beautiful and meaningful because I will it to be so, because I will stay in spirit. I will stay in connection. I will stay intentional. Do you find yourself needing to adjust? Do you find yourself needing to take a look at what has gotten you here and ask the question, is it going to get me there? Is it time for you to get creative and find new ways to nurture your life, whether it's your health, your relationships, your mindset, or your business? What could you adjust in this new year to nurture what's going to work for you now? Maybe by next week, I'll have my word of the year, but I don't have it yet. But I do have my word for January right now. And hopefully that will serve you going into January as well. So my invitation again for today is take some time for the macro and the micro. Yes, look at your year, enjoy your year, pay attention to that. And then also look at the month. What is true now? What is relevant now? Because your intention is built in the daily habits. That's why they both matter. Big picture and the ground floor. It all matters. It's all important. If you love this work, if you are ready to live a year of intention, if you want a year of intention for yourself, I'm now opening the doors to my group program, The Well. This is the place where you come to nourish your mind and your soul. This is like a gym membership for your mindset and for living with intention. It's the place that you use these concepts that we're learning on the podcast and really integrate to your own unique personal life. And you do that week after week in community and by coaching with me. So if this is something you want to do, the doors are going to be opening up in January. And on January 7th, we're going to be hosting our year-end review. And if you are a member of The Well, by then, you too can participate in our year-end review. So take a look at the show notes. If you have any questions or you want to know more about this, I would love to hear from you and support you in 2026. So I hope you have a beautiful holiday season, and I will see you next year. Bye. That's it for today's episode. Thanks so much for being here. I am deeply, deeply grateful for this time to connect. If you're loving this podcast, I'd love if you could support me by subscribing, rating, and or leaving a review wherever you listen to podcasts. Those reviews help us so much. And if you know of someone who could really use a voice like mine in their head, please share this with them and let them know how much you care about their bliss. Now, if you are feeling called to dig deeper and really work on elevating your mindset, wellness, and your relationships to create a healthier, happier, and more meaningful life, then I invite you to schedule a 60-minute complimentary consultation with me. Let's have a meaningful conversation and see if working together is in our future. You can find the link to the calendar of consults right there in my show notes, but you can also connect with me on my website, carolinedeposada.com, or just send me a DM on Instagram at Caroline de Posada. Like my friend always says, the project is big and you're a part of it. So thanks for being here.